How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to Muv-Luv Mondays. Oh boy, Adoration's been just a joy to go through. Last episode was very interesting. We got some Luna chat with a lot of the TSFs. We had a moment with Ilfrid where we really kind of talked about like Seijurou's really inner like demons and what he's worried about. Got a really human moment with him and with her where she expressed how she felt like she was prepared. She did well in her classes. She went to the battlefield and like literally locked up and had a meltdown. She made it past the first 8 minutes of death and doesn't even remember anything, nor did she do anything like truly productive there. Something she feels very ashamed of because she always anticipated being able to like live up to the stories and the hype that you have and all that. And she's like kind of having that reality crush down on her. She's just lucky that she didn't run into any serious issues. So, you know, there's really cool moments, bonding. We also had showers. Oh boy, the showers. Oh, please, YouTube, do not be cruel. But we'll move forward anyway. It is time for us to jump into the story and kind of see where this goes next. I know we're coming up on the joint live fire kind of training action we're going to be doing. I don't know if we're going to get to it today, but it should be sometime soon. So yeah, let's see what happens. All right, this should do. I love this music. Still, at some point, at this point, I have more questions than answers. I don't like to generalize, but going by what I've heard from the other cadets, of all the EU forces seem to have similarly low standards of discipline, which is precisely the issue. My contemporaries all face different problems, depending on their respective host country. There seem to be more disciplined armies than the Bundeswehr, but they're not necessarily more proficient in combat. Supposedly, there are also forces with excellent morale and skill who are held back by their outdated equipment. The one thing everyone agreed on, although with the varying degrees, was that the European armies seemed to lack a sense of urgency. Maybe that's the reason why their forces feel inferior when compared to the Imperial Royal Guard. Well, I imagine there's bias there for sure. Which raises the question, how could this possibly be the case? Europe is one of mankind's front lines. Together with Northeast Africa and the Far East, it's one of the three major major lines of defense in the war against the Beta. Britain is barely 40 kilometers away from mainland Europe, where several large hives were built. This place is literally crawling with Beta. To make the matters worse, the Europeans are forced to fight inside the effective range of heavy laser class during their regular culling operations. Given the ever-present Beta threat, how can they maintain such an idyllic atmosphere? Maybe for the sake of sanity. Someone said that this has to be resignation, that no one, from the upper brass down to the lowliest cadets, believes Europe will ever be recaptured. Someone else argued it's exactly because they have behaved this way that they lost their homeland in the first place. That's why, he added, European cadets should be sent to the Empire to train, not the other way around. I can't fully agree with either position, but I won't deny both of them made valid points. The Empire of Japan is the only country on Earth that has expelled the Beta from occupied territory. Europe, in contrast, remains under the thrall. It is only natural to question what could possibly hope to learn from them. Well, here's the problem, Seijurou. That's pretty biased in itself, because like here's the thing you're talking about. Like Japan is an island. We've already discussed how islands have an inherent natural barrier, the ocean. While it doesn't prevent Beta from coming, it directly slows them down. It makes them vulnerable to depth charges. It also makes them easier to detect upon approach. Although we've also seen that the Beta can do some pretty impressive tunneling, so I don't even know if the oceans would be that much of a danger truly if it's not super, super deep. But granted, you get to actual ocean depths, the water would crush any attempts to tunnel. So like it's really practical, but you got to be careful. We have a tunnel that connects France and Britain now. Is it impossible that the Beta could employ a similar tunnel? I mean, it's not beyond reason. So like I wouldn't be so sure of myself if I were them. But the other thing that's like, so again, like Japan, expel the Beta and like and take over the hive. Yeah, that's true, but think of the cost that took to begin with, and then the fact that because it's an island, it makes Japan relatively secure. Like they couldn't stop a Beta hive landing, and they definitely couldn't stop the invasion, the sea invasion that did walk up on the shores after Korea fell. But like it makes it so much easier. That's why Britain hasn't fallen, because of that same natural advantage, I assume, but it seems very logical. About mainland Europe, there's no barrier between Europe and you know, greater Asia. It's just land. Like, we like to draw a barrier there, but it's not. It's just like demographics based on population and like philosophy, really. like, for the beta, it's just a land, so they can just storm through. And trust me, Japan would not be able to hold its territory nearly as well if they could just walk across to your landmass. So, like, saying that it's because of your discipline is very much wrong. It's very wrong. As a matter of fact, your discipline still couldn't stop an invasion. Like, that still happened. So, I don't know. I just think it's very awkward because it's like, I understand what he's trying to say here. He's trying to comprehend, but he's so woefully, like, kind of delusioned based on, like, hype and, like, patriotism, which is kind of a flaw of patriotism. It's good to be proud of your nation. It's good to be wanting to support it and want it to be the best it could be. But the instant you start saying that your nation's better than other nations, especially when you say it's inherently because you're superior, like as people, that's dangerous. It's also dangerous to say that, like, patriotism means that other people of other nations are inferior. That's dangerous thinking too. All in all, like, it's a thin line to walk, and he's really straying here. I'd be lying if I said such thoughts hadn't crossed my mind. At least he's not giving him serious consideration. Oh, that's why. I was looking at something weird going on over here, but I found out what's going on, so I'll fix it later. The Seven Heroes. Was their inspirational story nothing but falsehood? A cynical piece of wartime propaganda disseminated to improve humanity's morale? Major Eichberg, Captain Ralstein, Lieutenant Farhorst. I was looking forward to learning from them directly, to be in a position where I could study their piloting techniques firsthand. I was sure this would be the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but reality has other plans. The only pilots I'm able to personally interact with are newly commissioned lieutenants. Of course, that in itself is by no means surprising. It's highly likely we exchange students are very low on the priority list. As a matter of fact, every cadet I asked told me that they are supervised by surface pilots fresh out of the academy. So what was the point of the exercise? Why did the Royal Guard headquarters send me here? All that's left of my exchange is the live fire exercise. I'm here thanks to the Imperial Treasury. My stay is made possible thanks to the taxes paid by hardworking Japanese subjects. How could I dare return to the Empire having learned nothing of importance? Inconceivable. No, as they say, wait and hope. Simulator training for the live fire exercise will start tomorrow. I'm more than ready. Come what may, I shall prevail. Mark my words, I will learn something from this experience and bring back something of true value. Don't give up yet, Seijurou. You still haven't seen the Cerberus battalion in action. Whew. Lieutenant Waltzenbein. I have to keep a positive outlook. Tomorrow is when the real thing starts. Alright, I should go to bed at once. I need to be well rested, and it will also serve as a good preparation to deal with Lieutenant Feulner's morning raid. I'm sure. Let's see what she does. Maybe we should try and set a trap for her. Good morning to you, Lieutenant Feulner.
Seijurou! 今日も起きてる!
Did you really expect otherwise? You encroached on my private space day after day in the exact same manner? Only a fool wouldn't take precautions.
警戒しなくていいのよ。起こしてあげるんだからギリギリまで寝てればいいのに。
I'll pass on your offer. I can't stand her watching over me when I'm so vulnerable. What a shameful display. And the way that she brings her lips up close to mine that way almost touches. They almost touch when I'm sleeping. Simply obscene.
Seijurou, 顔が赤いけど、熱でもあるんじゃないの?
No, it's because of you! I'm totally fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me, Lieutenant.
どうしたの急に? 大丈夫? やっぱり熱があるんじゃ.
Oh boy. No, I'm sure I'm alright. Why? Because I say I'm alright. Circular reasoning. Anyway, I was supposed to attend the seminar training as a spectator today, if I'm not mistaken. Lieutenant, I could be at death's door, and yet I would somehow summon the energy to attend. Believe me, I wouldn't miss this exercise for the world. Ah!
聖十郎が期待してくれるなら、私頑張るね.
Again, the lieutenant suggestively embraces me. In the morning, no less. I'm certain now. The degrees of physical contact is abnormal, even for a Westerner. Yes. Just so you know, Lieutenant, I'm looking forward to seeing the whole of Cerberus in action. I wasn't talking about you alone.
聖十郎、なんか最近冷たくない?
Kinda not really. I haven't been cold to you. This is my usual me.
クールな聖十郎も可愛いわね.
I really think she just sees him as a child. Whatever you say, Lieutenant. If you would excuse me now, it's time to eat breakfast. Wah!
清十郎。
Yeah.
大人になっちゃったのね。
I've been an adult all along.
まあ細かいことはいいわ。行きましょう。
Yes, let's do just that. She's pulling my hand again. Oh well, letting her have some small victories from time to time should be fine.
次に演習の概略について説明する。
Okay, so let's see what this is gonna be.
こ
Ah,
れが
nice.
北海に浮かぶシェトランド諸島である。
I've always wondered what it would be like there, like in real life, because they're just so like out of the way.
今回の演習はメインランド島をグレートブリテン島に。その演習シナリオは例によって例のごとく。国連欧州連合軍によるベータ上陸阻止作戦である。
Right.
状況は次の通り。ドーバー海峡を渡海進行中の超軍団規模ベータ軍が探知され、国連北海艦隊が第一次防衛ラインを形成。
Yeah,
S11 爆雷による地対攻撃を行う。
depth charges are really good because the beta can't really respond underwater. I believe the lasers can't even fire when they're under the water. Like obviously, because I think they actually use like lasers. So, like the lasers would be dispersed in the water very, very, very effective. Like dispersed effectively, they would become super ineffective underwater, thus impractical. So being able to just drift over with your boats and drop explosives on them that can take them out, it's so nice.
第一防衛ラインでおよそ 30% を失いながらも、ベータ軍第一陣が海峡沿岸一帯に上陸を開始。これを第一戦域、第二防衛ラインとして欧州連合陸軍の下方及びマルス部隊が面制圧により迎撃する。
How are they going to simulate beta, I wonder?
第二防衛ラインを突破した敵に対し、欧州連合の戦術機構部隊が第一戦域に突入し、第三防衛ラインを形成。
Oh,
主演砲撃を背景に優勢なまま戦闘を継続。
I just remembered. I think this is simulation. So like they're actually in the simulators, and then the live fire episode will be like like TSF versus TSF.
第三防衛ラインの敵戦力が 30% を切った段階で、地中を侵攻してきた3個師団規模ベータ軍がナップ沿岸に出現。
Now, if they're doing a true exercise, things are not going to go this way. This is what they're going to tell them to expect, but then they're going to toss some curveballs.
これに対し、東欧北欧連合軍部隊が即応し、第三防衛ラインを伸長。対岸の欧州大陸にも10レーザー級を含む旅団規模のベータ軍が出現する。
Those heavy lasers are terrifying.
北海艦隊は全速後退するも 40% の艦艇を開出。艦隊の戦域離脱により主演砲撃の 50% を失った第三防衛線は徐々に後退。
Right.
国連太平洋艦隊及びドーバー基地軍は ALM を含む主演砲撃を開始。重金属雲の発生と同時に洋上待機中の我が大隊は10レーザー級の排除を優先破壊目標として第二戦域となる欧州大陸に侵攻開始。
So again, if you just a refresher, just in case it's been a while. Remember, lasers, their field of view is everything. Like they're built themselves to effectively have like 360 view, like full rotation. So effectively, their range is the horizon. So it's a long, long, long distance, and they're very, very accurate. And the lasers are so intense that I think a TSF with like energy resistant like materials and paints that are meant to be as reflective and disruptive to laser as possible can still only stand from a small laser about a second and a half of direct contact before the casing starts to melt and you take like critical damage to whatever they've hit. But the big lasers are so powerful that even like just contact with one of their like beams is instant death. Like it's too strong to be countered by any armor that we have. It's also why air support is just not a thing in this universe.
セルベルス・ロートの2個中隊による低空侵入。目標選別攻撃により10レーザー級を排除。その後、第二戦域の暫敵相当に移行。 その後、全戦域、全防衛ラインにて、ベータの全滅を確認し帰投。本演習の参加艦艇陸上部隊、航空機の選抜隊による艦船本部前のパレードパスをもって演習終了となる。
Okay.
我が大隊は機動遊撃部隊であるがゆえに、今演習においても同様の任務を与えられている。ゆえに、第二戦域でのチョーク低空進行など、最も危険かつ困難な作戦が要求されている。演習とはいえ気を抜けば、落命もあり得ると心得よ。
Okay.
なお、ベータの出現位置、規模、編成比率は、当日を含めシミュレーターでも毎回変更されるものとする。演習プログラムの説明は以上である。
Yes.
注意。
So we have the outline of what's going to happen, but it can be so different from that. Like, yeah, I like that.
はっ、各自完全装備で60分後にシミュレータールームに集合。何か質問はあるか？
しかし毎度毎度、本当に弾薬と時間の無駄ですね、これは。
どうせ国連官僚のわがままでしょ。シビリアンコントロールだかなんだか知らないけど、戦争気分だけでも味わいたいのよ。
だったら実戦を視察に来ればいいじゃないですか。歓迎はしませんけど。
Interesting.
バカかお前ら。国連のお偉方がそんな危険で小汚いところに行くわけねえだろ。そういうクソったらな場所はな、居候や厄介者の社交場ってのが相場なんだよ。
I mean, I get it, but it's like very insubordinate.
ブラウアーの言う通りだ。たとえそれがクソのような味だろうが、働かない居候が食える飯はイギリスにもない。晩飯のために最善を尽くせ。他にはあるか？なければ以上とする。
Okay, so this is a live fire simulator. How are they doing this exactly? I thought it was going to be purely in the simulators, or maybe it's simulated in the TSFs, but they're using live fire to get like the experience of like, you know, the kick and like working with the gear. But that does mean it could like, you could accidentally friendly fire somebody. That would be terrifying. How interesting. The scenario prepares for two things at once, a large-scale landing from the continent and an underground incursion. Victory of this operation obviously hinges on the elimination of the heavy laser class, just as I expected. Cerberus Battalion has been entrusted with that crucial responsibility. Heavy metal clouds notwithstanding, Cerberus's job is still extremely difficult. It's no easy task for two companies to rush into a beta-occupied continent and eliminate several dozen heavy laser class. Should they fail, the rest of the force will need to buy time with indirect saturation supporting fire until another strike force can be dispatched. Splitting your forces further while dealing with the landing enemies wouldn't simply increase casualties caused by lasers. No, the overall loss ratio would be likely double. Worst case scenario, Dover Complex would lose a vast amount of men and firepower, leaving them in the precarious situation. They probably wouldn't be able to withstand another large-scale invasion. It may be training, but the assumptions that they will be fighting under are harsh, as I thought. Europe's situation is dire. What's most shocking, though, is that their palpable contempt for the United Nations forces. Is that widespread sentiment among the European Union forces, or is it limited to Cerberus because they are a quick reaction force, meaning most of their missions involve cleaning up the UN's mess? Maybe I'm overthinking this. Complaints about the upper brass are common everywhere, and considering the Brunswiger has been incorporated into the United Nations forces, the UN military leadership would be the natural target of their grievances. Now that I think about it, it may very well be the United Nations is to the European Union what the United States is to Japan. Ah, yes, probably.
真壁候補生、ちょっといいかしら。
Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Fahrenhorst, what does she want to talk to me about? Whatever it is, I'm innocent.
あなたもシミュレータールームに集合するのよ。イルフリーでは訓練に参加するから案内できないけれど、一人で大丈夫かしら。
Yes, she has shown me the way before.
そう。セキュリティレベルは問題ないから安心していらっしゃい。
Oh, that's very kind of you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your concern.
訓練の様子はコマンドポストオフィサー用のヘッドセットで見ることができるわ。イルフリーでの活躍を見てあげて。
Yes, ma'am.
では後ほど。 シミュレータールームでね。
Okay, so they're going to be doing a live fire test, but we're just going to be watching. Whew. It was just an ordinary conversation, but despite my calm demeanor, my hands are drenched in sweat. A living legend straight out of the history books. The White Wolf Queen. Just hearing her say my name was nerve-wracking, to the point where images of the shower room incident flashed in my mind. Hey heavens, that regretful affair. Indelible in my memory as disapproval, the way the lieutenant looked at me with eyes full of disdain in the locker room, even though my innocence had long been established. Oh well, in 1 hour I'll finally be able to witness the second lieutenant's, nay, the whole Cerberus battalion in battle with my own 2 eyes. 3 of the 7 heroes will take part in this exercise. Cannot afford to look away from the battle, not even for a second. I know this is merely simulator practice before the real exercise, but the joint integrated visual emulator system ensures that things will feel as close to actual combat as possible. JIVES is an amazing piece of technology that accurately replicates visual projections of the beta, the scenery, and other TSFs. Not to mention it can also faithfully reproduce sensory feedback such as shock acceleration based on the actual combat data. Interesting. Isn't that the same? Is that the same name of the system that was in Altered Fable? Like, is that the idea that like the Mitsurugi Foundation, although later, effectively develops the same like replicator technology but perfects it because it became a full dive situation where like you couldn't distinguish reality from fiction? That's pretty cool. I have some first-hand experience with it myself. Even though I was aware of it, it was only a simulation, my mind had trouble telling apart what's virtual and what's real. Before you know it, you're completely immersed. However, Jives was created to be used in non-live fire training exercises with real machines. I have never heard of it being used in live fire scenarios to emulate the enemies involved and the damage incurred. Quite intriguing, actually.
Seijurou, さすがに嬉しそうな顔してるわね。
Of course. But of course, Lieutenant Feulner, because I'm finally able to see the famous Cerberus battalion in action. I expect the performance of a lifetime.
舞台は普段通りやるだけらしいけど、私は聖十郎の期待に応えられるように頑張るわ。
Aww. Great. Now then, I think I'll head to the simulator room by myself. You must be focused on preparations for the exercise, Lieutenant.
ありがとう。じゃあまた後でね。
Yes, ma'am. Same as usual, huh? Does that mean that they can afford to perform as usual? I have to say, that makes Cerberus sound surprisingly efficient. I'm impressed I didn't quite get an impression I didn't quite get during my everyday life on Dover base. But what do I know? The lieutenant obviously has a lot of combat experience. I'm sure she can handle situations like these perfectly. Perhaps she's even become sort of an old hand already. I'm truly looking forward to this exercise.
Okay.
Oh boy. Holy crap, look at that red.
10分前である。ロート中隊処刑登場の時間だ。真壁候補生は管制室からモニターするように。
Yes, sir.
結果的であれなんであれ。飛型がこのシミュレーター演習から得るものは多かろう。
I swear I've heard that voice before. I swear I've heard his voice before. Where is it? It's not Ainz from Overlord. Or maybe like the other voice I'm thinking of is the narrator in Love is War. Like, does anyone know if that's a connection? Like, it's hard for me to look up voice actors from Japan just because it's like it's really hard to kind of keep up with them, and like IMDb isn't very helpful when it's pure like Japanese titles. But I'll try maybe because I swear I've heard that voice before. Yes, sir. I'm sure I will learn much from watching Cerberus do battle, Captain.
さて、我が輩も登場するとしよう。
Whatever the outcome may be. Now that's one ambiguous way of phrasing it. I wonder what the captain meant. Oh well, I have plenty of time to figure it out later. Right now I should pay attention to Cerberus's performance. Captain Gerhalt Ralstein, the Sonic Baron, leader of the Rote Company, is one of the 7 heroes of the Great Britain. This is my chance to see whether he truly lives up to his lofty reputation. And Lieutenant Feulner, what skills must she be keeping secret? Please show me. Prove that you're a worthy member of Cerberus.
シミュレーター起動まで300秒。整備要員は直ちに所定の位置まで交代せよ。繰り返す。シミュレーター起動まで300秒。整備要員は直ちに。
I'm glad it's not the siren of PTSD going off. But I bet you will hear that eventually. 2 hours later. We don't get to watch it? Aww. I'm guessing it wasn't that good. Now that was interesting. The Empire could learn a thing or two from how Cerberus fights in close quarters, plus their novel tactics are nothing to scoff at. Seeing the Typhoon live made me realize Lieutenant Waltzman was right about what she said it was similar to Japanese TSFs in design and operation. I can't say it was a bad showing, all things considered. However, my imagination exceeded reality. To be perfectly honest, the Cerberus Battalion did not live up to my lofty expectations. Well, maybe that says more about your expectations, dude. I couldn't monitor anyone outside of the Rote Company. I'm not sure if this actually extends to the whole battalion, but their teamwork left something to be desired. Captain Rollerstein's movements were indeed out of the ordinary, but I still get the impression the 7 heroes' reputation has been blown way out of proportion. It's really disappointing. There must have been at least several Royal Guard surface pilots who are just as proficient in combat as he is, or even surpass him. But I only have myself to blame. Nobody forced these unreasonable expectations on me.
Seijurou, 待たせちゃってごめんね。
Good work out there, Lieutenant Feulner. What's the matter, Lieutenant?
ごめんね。聖十郎にいいところ見せられなかった。
Please, there's no need to feel bad about that. It would be inaccurate to say Lieutenant Feulner is unskilled, but regrettably, I have to admit she's completely right. She failed to stand out in any way.
急いで着替えていたと思えば、やはりな。
西洋の騎士と東洋の武士が惹かれ合う。なんて麗しいのかしら。
Luna. My compliments on a job well done, Lieutenants. Lieutenant Falkenmeyer's performance as the Storm Vanguard was spectacular. It's no surprise she excels in her role, otherwise she couldn't keep up with Captain Rollerstein after only being commissioned for half a year. On another note, watching Lieutenant Waltzbin was quite an experience. Though she seemed to be moving too much in her role as a rear support blast guard, she still provided precise covering fire while zooming around the battlefield, hitting the right targets at the right times. They all belong to the same batch, but I would certainly place Lieutenant Feulner a step or two beneath them. Cerberus may not have lived up to my expectations, but they're a very competent fighting force. Anything less would have been unthinkable anyway. Their members are all hand-picked from the elite after all. And yet, from what little I was able to see, I can't say that was a vast difference compared to other regular surface pilots.
もう終わったことは仕方がない。お腹も空いたし、早く食堂に行きましょう。
Yeah.
まあ、はしたない。聖十郎くんの前ですわよ、イルフィ。
Oh gosh. A better half.
少しは落ち着いたらどうなんだ。聖十郎が呆れてるぞ。
I know, right? No, I don't care really. It's just the usual. It's this. Isn't this her usual her anyway?
ちょっと聖十郎、それどういう意味？
そのままの意味に決まっている。
I mean, yeah.
自分が活躍したからって。ほら、終わったことは仕方がないのではなかった？
I admit they're good people, but I can't condone surface pilots acting like this carefree right after an exercise. They should be reflecting, rather sternly at that, on their lacking results. Well, as real as it might feel, Jive still is nothing but a simulation. And Cerberus must be used to real combat, so maybe them not treating simulations with all due seriousness is just par for the course. I'm sure it's going to be different in the upcoming European live fire exercise. Facing off against other countries will no fail bring their competitive spirit to the fore, eh? That's when I expect them to perform closer to how they do in the field. I know I'm repeating myself, but I can't let the national funds that brought me here go to waste. I can't lose faith, not with this late in my exchange. I have to believe there's plenty to learn from the following exercises. I don't know, man. Lieutenant Feulner and the others should be on standby in their rooms right now. The carrier is scheduled to depart early tomorrow morning. The final maintenance checks on the TSF should be done by now. The lieutenants have many preparations to make for tomorrow's voyage, so I was guided to the mess hall by an administrative official, and had to eat dinner alone. I'm done with the day's schedule of activities. Might be the first time since I entered military school that I've had the luxury of having too much free time for myself. Good grief, being around Lieutenant Feulner all day has always made me feel exhausted, but in a way it's lonely without her. What the heck am I thinking? Ridiculous, I'm not a child. I have absolutely no trouble coping with whatever comes my way, even if she isn't at my side. Inconceivable. I was only thinking about her personality and the way she acts. I mean, I would feel lonely if that were cheerfulness went away. Listen to yourself, Seijurou. That's not lonely at all. I'm just impatient. Yes, that's it. And I get even more impatient after witnessing today's simulator training. That's why, and this is highly unusual for me, I can't settle down. I know I can't quite judge their performance when they have yet to use real TSS, but the jives we're talking about here. Logic dictates the results must be very close to the real thing. Even if Cerberus deems a mere simulation not worth taking seriously, one does not simply overcome sensory depreciation at that level. Okay, deception at that level. Okay, well here's the thing. Did they have any losses? My impression was even with like Kasumi, and the Valkyries, which are like amazing, they had losses when confronting Beta, going on dangerous missions. Cerberus's team executed a very dangerous part of that mission. Did they suffer any losses? It sounds like he might not realize that is unusual, that there's no losses on an entire team when they perform the most dangerous operation of the mission. That should say volumes. Maybe what he's anticipating as, usual is the fact that they executed it perfectly. They had no losses. They were able to take out and perform all their needed actions, adapting to situations that they overcome. Was it optimal? Of course not, but no encounter is going to be optimal. Again, I think he's just thinking so highly of them and so far above what he, he's so romanticized with the, TSF lifestyle, being a samurai, being a knight. I think he doesn't really recognize what an amazing job is. Sure, nothing super impressive happened, but the thing is, super impressive stunts that wow and awe are the stuff that you do when the craps hit the fan. There's nothing left to do but just something crazy. It's insane. So I think that's the problem here. I think his perspective is so skewed. Curses. I can't help thinking my words are justified. There might be nothing wrong with my attention during the live fire maneuver either. I would have no time to feel conflicted if I were with Lieutenant Feulner, but at the moment I'm not, which is why I'm overly conscious of the fact, and that I can only mean that I'm lonely after all. I can only mean I'm not lonely at all. Yes. Quadrit demonstratum. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. In the likely event there's nothing to be learned from Cerberus in terms of military matters, I would have no choice but to bring home something else that can only be found in Europe. Sure. Let's not forget that it's the subjects of the Empire who have funded my travel expenditures through their hard-earned taxes. If I go home empty-handed, everything would have been for nothing, meaningless. No, not only would that be meaningless, I would be committing a fraud, and not just me, but House Makabe would also be liable for my actions, and the Royal Guard as well. So after giving the matter some careful consideration, the most suitable alternative to bring home with me would be the spirit of chivalry. Now I'm right back where I started. Thinking about it, I can't say the simulator exercise was a complete waste of time. At the very least, it made me realize how carefree they are. Instead of the usual discipline you see on the front lines, these men and women partake in frivolous diversions with alarming regularity. Worse, that isn't even accounting for the lacking manners of some of their members. And while I'm confident all my observations are objectively true, I have to admit they also successfully completed their mission. Their performance was far from what I expected from a supposedly legendary unit, but I wouldn't argue that they fared better than the average force would have in their place. So how can we explain this discrepancy? Could it be that they're not as individualistic as I thought? After all, they couldn't have achieved victory without sharing some of the subconscious bond. I'm sure the tactic knowledge is the traditional spirit of chivalry that dwells in each pilot. It's what leads them to perform better than their individual capabilities. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. Here I thought I could learn about chivalry by watching Cerberus in action and compare what I had seen in the precepts of Bushido. Thinking about it now, that approach might have obscured the true nature of what I wanted to learn. I mean, I would argue there too, isn't Bushido, you can watch somebody be skillful in combat, but it's possible to be skillful in combat and not be a follower of Bushido, the lifestyle. That's the thing, it's a lifestyle. Same with chivalry. Chivalry doesn't make you good at combat unless you believe that good feelings and the power of friendship could make you better at combat. Maybe My Little Pony says so, but that's not what we're doing here. Bushido is a lifestyle. It's a way of living an honorable life, of dedicating yourself to tasks and keeping yourself and your blade as sharp and honed as possible, so that when times of peace are around, you are a weapon prepared and ready for when the inevitable fight comes. And chivalry, ironically, is kind of the opposite. It's a step back from aggressive military might. It's more about consideration, honor, duty, being more behooved to the wills of your lord and lady, and to live a life that's worthy, to not just be like a rabble mercenary, somebody who just does what they want, whatever they want. Like chivalry is about like living to a high standard. Again, it's a lifestyle. It has nothing to do with combat abilities. There are mercenaries who could kick the pants off of a lot of chivalrous knights back in the day because they were better at combat. Chivalry gives you bonuses when dealing with the more political side of things, with dealing with others, and especially with holding yourself to a standard that others could respect and follow. A lot of mercenaries were looked down upon because they were seen as money grubbing and dirty with their tactics. Knights were paragons of virtue. They could be good fighters too, but that was like not to do with chivalry. It's an interesting idea. Like I don't know why I didn't think about this until now, but that's so true. Bushido and chivalry are lifestyles. They're not combat. Like, they don't unlock hidden abilities of combat. They might feel like they do because you feel like all the great warriors followed these footsteps and precepts, but like, I don't think it had anything to do with that. If anything, it actually could limit them because, like, you can't deny that underhanded tactics, like stealthing through the night, assassination, thievery, and harassment, targeting civilians in order to enrage like troops into going out of position. Like, these are horrific and terrible things to do, and they're very much against chivalry and Bushido, but they're effective. They're insanely effective, and in fact, that's why like they are often the tools of smaller, weaker forces fighting against larger organized forces, because they are so effective and require much less manpower, and they work. Like, that's the whole point of terrorism. Terrorism in itself is combat via like propaganda and surgical guerrilla tactic striking, because you don't have the manpower to go toe-to-toe with a major force, but you want to fight and have to fight it anyway. And terrorism is the label we put on it when it's like the enemy doing it. We call it special ops when it's us. Like, it's all perspective. It's nothing to do with like actual combat ability. It's all about philosophy. And so like, it's something that we really like. It's funny because like, it's something that I do hear about a lot, like, and the attributions of a lot of anime and stuff talks about how like, oh, they draw strength from their vows and draw strength from their lifestyle. It's like, well, okay, maybe personal strength, possibly, I could believe that, but it's not like it actually makes your arm any stronger than it would be if you simply were exercising and doing the proper training regimens. I don't know. That was a long rant about something. Philosophy is fascinating. Frankly speaking, the only thing I know is that it is nothing about the spirit of chivalry. But at the very least, today's simulator exercise has sent me on the right path. There's just one last chance left to accomplish my task, tomorrow's joint exercise. Oh boy. Couldn't sleep, so I came here. I'm standing in front of Lieutenant Falkenmeyer's room. Oh boy. You two, be kind. I think I know what's gonna happen here. But I'm having trouble mustering up the courage to enter. It's been several minutes now, but I've been hesitant to knock.
むやみに人に尋ね聞くものではなく、己で切り開いて初めて見聞が身となるものだろう。
Should I even ask her directly? Is that something Lieutenant Falkenmeyer would condone? These past few days, I've been trying to obtain something. However, to my shame, I still haven't determined exactly what I'm looking for. Of course, I have learned a lot of minor things, but it all comes down to mere trivia. The valuable resource of the Empire's finance to stay in Europe. I have to ensure I can return home with my head held high. If there's nothing else I can do, at least I want to catch a glimpse of the European spirit of chivalry. Oh, I'm sure you're going to catch a glimpse of something. Naturally, I don't plan on this being a one-sided deal, since Lieutenant Falkenmeyer has shown clear interest in Bushido. We are in a perfect position to learn from each other. This is mere sophistry. Nothing but cheap words to justify my actions. I need to stop lying to myself. Lieutenant Falkenmeyer's always felt the closest to a real samurai, to my own sensitivities. That's the sole reason why I'm trying to force her into the role of a noble confidant. In the end, I'm simply taking advantage of her. Word choice! Word choice! But I need to do this. Oh gosh, what is going on? Oh no! What? What was that just now?
そんなに見つめられると、私も。
What was that seductive voice coming from Lieutenant Falkenmeyer?
ダメよ。ダメだったら。
I think we caught her at a private moment. You stupid idiot, of course it's her voice. It's coming from her room. What could it be? Yeah.
ダメ。もう我慢できない。
Hey, there's nothing wrong with having your personal time, but Seijurou can't handle this. This is regrettable. I've come at the worst of times. She's speaking in German, so I don't know exactly what she's saying, but the tone of her voice is enough for me to understand. Behold how the language barrier is broken. Oh no.
聖十郎、
Oh no.
ダメだったな。
Is that what she's actually saying? Wait, no. My feelings for the lieutenant are pure and innocent. That was just my subconscious going into overdrive. Surely I can't be blamed for something completely out of my control.
かわいすぎて生きているのが辛い。
It's bad that this is like I think I cursed myself by getting sound sensitive surround sound headphones. Oh, it's getting hot in here. Good Lord Almighty. Why am I acting like this out of ordinary? She's a surface pilot, but a woman first and foremost, and we're on the front lines here. It's only natural she craves human warmth. I wouldn't be strange at all for a pure, beautiful, noble woman like her to have been courted by a man or two. She could easily have had 4 or 5 fiancés by now. Uh-oh.
体が熱い。喉が渇く。そうだ。こんな時は濃縮還元合成バナナオーレに限る。PX 行ってくるから、ちょっとここに座ってて。
She's talking to who's she talking to? This is the last night before she has to the sortie for the live fire exercise. No matter how unlikely death is a real possibility for the lieutenant and her partner. This time together must be worth more than anything. It's regrettable, but it seems I won't be getting another chance to consult with Lieutenant. Even so, it would be cruel of me to deprive her of it. Ah!
ごめんね。すぐ戻るから
Ah! He's like, ah! I'm sorry.
何か聞こえたか？
Not a thing.
何か見たか？
Not a thing.
そこで何をやっている？
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lieutenant. There's something I wanted to ask you about. I only got here a few seconds ago and I was just about to knock.
では、中で聞こう。
Are you sure?
はい。
Ah! What? Come on in! Could this be the point of no return? What are you going to do, Seijurou? It would be highly suspicious to refuse her offer, but her companion must still be inside. Wait, that's it. Of course, the lieutenant is surely aware of the samurai is forbidden from bending the truth. Since I said I saw her and heard nothing, the lieutenant is acting as if there's nothing, and that is because she won't allow me to shoulder this burden on my own. Mother of God! It's a true knight! As a samurai, I would bring shame upon myself if I were not to respond in kind to her gallant spirit. So I respond I shall. Even if there is a man stark naked inside her room, and the air is so thick with the lingering aroma of his Johnson, I might want to choke. It shall not be a problem. I will simply ignore any remnants of his presence.
どうした？遠慮はいらぬ。奥までツイート入るがいい。
Phrasing? Yes, please excuse me. Heavens. Oh no. Oh no, it's a bear. Oh no. Oh gosh, no. What if we fall? Oh, it's like, oh no. What? There's no one in here. That would mean she and her partner found a place to hide the 2 minutes or so we were talking outside the room, all without making a single sound and without leaving any evidence behind. Simply impossible. First of all, this room is simply too small. There's no place where her grown man could possibly hide. Not to mention, there's absolutely no trace of their nighttime activities. The sheets are clean. I can't spot a single stain. I'll be his discretion is admirable. Her man must be a master of stealth. Oh no. Maybe he's taking advantage of the marvels of the Western Germany architecture to hide from me before I could notice? No one could fit inside a locker, which only leaves the shower.
そういえば、少し汗ばんだので、シャワーを浴びようと思っていたところでな。
Maybe then it's true? She's acting really suspicious unless she like... I'm worried that she has like a body pillow. Oh my gosh, no! She is the... Oh my gosh, she probably does! She's the one who would. Oh no. Is this place full of mind readers? No one's in there.
どうだ 聖十郎、浴びていくかなんて。
Alright, it's gonna go whoosh because it's Seijurou, but holy crap. The lieutenant is so desperate to prove her innocence, but at this rate she'll end up revealing her partner's hiding spot. What should I do? The awkwardness would be too much. Wait a second. Is that a teddy bear? Why is there an object that wouldn't look out of place amongst the belongings of a little girl sitting in plain sight in the room of a woman as dignified as the lieutenant? Oh, I finally get the picture. And here I was thinking she was with another gentleman, but there's only her and the cute little teddy. Are you for real? Oh no! Inconceivable. The bear. Hella gross. This is madness! It's not Sparta, my friend, here in Britain. The lieutenant, as steadfast as a cliff against the wave of the ocean, is filled with shame to the point where she's being reduced to a whimpering maiden. Could it really be? Indeed, 'twas I. Indeed, 'twas I. So was you. Please keep looking after Lieutenant, my little friend. I'm sorry. Please be at ease, Lieutenant. A samurai's oath is sacred. I promise to say I saw nothing. Thus, I am duty-bound to take this truth to my grave. She's really cute. Oh, a glimpse of Bushido. In the forced stoicism of Lieutenant Falkenmeyer, I have witnessed a precious glimpse of the samurai code. This is a fortuitous development, one that has made me realize how much I have been fixated on the differences between Bushido and chivalry. However, this was not a fruitful line of inquiry. Today I've seen the truth in the Lieutenant's tears, a medium that transcends the barriers of language and culture. Now that that bond between samurai and knight has been forged, I can only laugh at how insignificant the difference in our values are. I guess you were right, Lieutenant Falkenmeyer. Virtue is a matter of deeds. It is only thanks to your sacrifice that such a valuable lesson could have been engraved upon my soul.
では、話を聞こう。
How dignified she looks when she's trying to be her hardest to be surprised, to suppress her shame. She's adorable. Holy crap. Okay, I know you like a lot of people are like, oh, Luta's the best. Luta's the best. Like, how could she not be the best? Look at her. She's adorable. A little odd, but everyone's got a screw loose here, and who wouldn't in a future with the beta invasion? Frankly, I'll take her idiosyncrasies any day. She's awesome. She's so cute. The secret she wants nobody to learn about may be exposed, yet she's trying her utmost to remain kind and considerate. You see, I've run into a problem. Kind of a serious one, I might add. I wanted to ask your advice. I'm only going to ask for counsel. Ultimately, it's up to me to decide how I should proceed.
お前が直面している問題?
Yes. Cutting to the chase, I've started to think I might not gain anything of value from my stay here. Truth be told, I feel sort of lost about the matter. I think it boils down to unreasonable expectations. I get carried away, hearing about the exploits of the legendary Cerberus battalion. There was no way reality could live up to my lofty expectations. There's no point in hiding my doubts. I'll speak plainly and give her my honest impression of Lieutenant Feulner and the old unit as a whole. I should not concern myself with what Lieutenant Falkenmeyer might think. All I should care about is how to repay the people who have sacrificed so much to send me to this faraway land. Nothing else matters. Aw, it's kind of sad that that's where that day ends. Alright, but I think this is where we're going to end for today. The sounds of the ocean caressing our eardrums, we will be parting ways until another week has passed. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. A bit of news though, I plan to have a video coming out next week, and it should be out next week, but there might not be one after that. I've been kind of keeping it under wraps, but there is going to be a trip I'm going to take, and it's going to cause a disruption to the plan of the planned releases of videos. I've been doing my best to try and pre-record, so I'm going to be well in the middle of my vacation by the time the videos stop. But despite my best efforts, my sanity and lack of sleep have kind of reined in my expectations, and I don't think I'm going to have enough done to have everything taken care of. So I'm anticipating about a week and a half of videos that just won't be uploaded for a bit. It's not the channel dying, just a stopgap. I'll be commenting and responding to the comments as much as I can whilst on my trip. I'll probably be making some updates about the trip while I am like doing things, and like I'll be posting stuff in the Discord and there. Like I'll still be actively engaged, and like when I have you know, times like to do stuff, I'll be like interacting and be part of the channel still, but the videos are going to take a break because I'm taking a bit of a break. And that's fine. Like, I know you guys won't really be that upset or anything. It's YouTube who will probably be the most upset at me. But frankly, you know, I don't make this for them. I make this for you. But I want to let you know that there might be a bit of a gap. And so I apologize for that. But, you know, I got to take some time for me. And it's been a while. This pandemic's been really trying. And it's time for me, now that I've been vaccinated, to go and see family who I haven't seen in like 5 years because of, you know, finances and just timing and pandemic altogether. It's been too long since I've seen a lot of core family. So I'm going to be going out and doing that. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to like watching the videos that come out as they come out, but just kind of, you know, temper your hearts and don't boost your expectations like Seijurou, and just understand that when the videos cease for a little bit, it's just a small break. Now, the other break that could come up is school. I got school. I'm going to be attending full time. I plan to make videos, but I also have to be realistic because I'm taking a full load. I'm effectively doing full time, and I have other responsibilities too. So we'll see. I'm going to do my best, but it might become a lot more sporadic. But that's the nature of things. Like, I've got to give priority, but I'm never going to stop making videos entirely. It just might be a little less consistent, sadly, but we'll do what we can. Anyway, just wanted to give you all a heads up. Thank you so much to the patrons who continue to support me. I appreciate everything you guys do. I hope you guys enjoy the patron cast. I should be having one rolling out here before long. I plan to make it this week, so if you have any questions you want to ask me or any thoughts you want to know about, please put it down in the Discord page where I post for questions like that ASAP. It'd be better just to have a direction for it because it's definitely going to be a lot more loosey-goosey of one. I'm probably just going to talk about whatever's like most impactful at that time. But I'm looking forward to making it. It should be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for all your support, for being here for the videos, for giving my channel any of the likes and comments that you feel like you want to. Like, every little bit has helped. It's wonderful being able to hear like how much you enjoy stuff, and I'm really grateful to be able to have these opportunities to share with you. But until next video watching me, ever see me in next. I'll see you there.